children aren't receiving gender affirmation or gender affirming surgeries or treatment. At least that's what I keep getting told. People keep telling me this on Twitter. They keep arguing with me over and over again that children are not getting double mastectomies, that some of them even argue that they're not getting hormone treatments. And thankfully, I haven't found any evidence to... Well, actually, no, I think I might. We're going to go through it. I think they're even getting not just the top surgeries, but I believe that there are certain places that are giving them even the bottom surgery for children as young as 16 years old. And it's just amazing to me that these people have the audacity to go on Twitter and tell me that I'm wrong when the evidence is so easily accessible. All I had to do was search it up on the internet. I've been home searching this for about like 2, maybe 3 hours at most. I had some general knowledge of the topic anyway, but these people on Twitter, they just keep arguing with me. Now, getting into the topic of transgender people in general, I don't really care what people do with their own bodies. At the end of the day, if you feel happy wearing a certain article of clothing or wearing your hair a certain way, having your hair a certain color, whatever it is, I think it's fine. As long as you're not overtly hurting yourself or hurting others, I think it's fine. But even to some extent, people should be allowed to hurt themselves. Some people like that, because who's to say where that would end? If you start outlawing people hurting themselves, then they'll say piercings are too much or something like that. So obviously adults should be able to make their own decision when it comes to things of this nature. But we're talking about children, children that eventually will likely grow out of their gender dysphoria. And that's what this is. It's gender dysphoria. It's gender identity dysphoria, whatever it is. There's been multiple names for it over the years. At the end of the day, it is a mental disorder that is not natural to people. And that's not to discourage these transgender individuals. I fully support their right to do whatever they want, as long as they're not hurting other people. Like I said, people can do whatever they want as long as they're not hurting other people. That's a big belief of mine. But now we come into the question of children. I have this article up here. This is from MSN, and it says Vanderbilt Transgender Health Clinic suspends gender affirming surgery for minors. So if you go into the article a little bit, let's see here. So it says they're pausing in the letter. Pinson informs the lawmaker that the nonprofit hospital is pausing gender affirmation surgeries on patients that were under the age of 18 while it reviews new recommendations. The move came amid pressure from Tennessee's Republican leaders, who sent a letter to the hospital last week requesting that Vanderbilt Medical halt all gender transitioning surgeries on minors. Gender affirming cares such as uses a multidisciplinary approach, can't speak today, to help a person transition from their assigned gender, the one that the person was designated at birth, to the gender by which the person wants to be known. So I found that language interesting. It says designated at birth. No one is designated a gender or a sex at birth. That's just outrageous to me. You don't have a litter of kittens and you're like, oh, that one's a boy, this one's a girl, that one's a boy, oh, this one can be whatever it wants to be. No, you can clearly friggin' tell, like, you're either a male or you're a female. And obviously I'm not talking about intersex individuals who have they're predominantly one sex or the other, but they may have some characteristics of both. But those intersex people are in like a category of their own. And, I don't have anything wrong with them. However they want to live, they can live however they want. But we're talking about people that aren't born that way, that want to be the gender by which the person wants to be known. I don't care what you want to be known as. I want to be known as a billionaire. Doesn't mean I'm going to be. I want to be known as intelligent. I want to be known as respected. There's all kinds of things that people want to be known as. Doesn't mean you will be. or that you deserve to be. And it also doesn't change what reality is. What is the reality of your sex? What is sex and what is gender? Now, people will try to tell you that they're different, but are they really? You know, if I pull up the definition of sex, it's very simple and it's very straight to the point. It talks about actual sex, you know, intercourse, the sexual urge or instinct as it manifests itself in behavior. And then here's the actual definition when we're talking about your personal sex, whether you're male or female. Either of the two divisions, designated female or male, by which most organisms are classified on the basis of their reproductive organs and functions. So the functions of your body and the reproductive organs by which you possess are what classify you as one sex or the other. That's just a fact. You mutilating yourself in pursuit of mirroring the opposite gender, the opposite sex, is ultimately pointless because it will never be. It can't be. It isn't the same. It never will be the same. You'll also never know what it feels like because you have never been the opposite sex. So if I go over to gender, what's the definition of gender, you might ask? Well, you'll get all kinds of answers for the definition of gender. Apparently I spelled definition wrong in the search bar there. Now, the first one doesn't really make sense. It says a grammatical category, often designated as male, female, or neuter, used in the classification of nouns, pronouns, adjectives, and in some languages, verbs that may arbitrarily or based on characteristics such as sex or animacy, and that determines agreement with or selection of modifiers, reference, and grammatical forms. But it also has the same definition as the third one. It also says the fact of being classified as belonging to such a category. I don't... That nonsense. These two are nonsense. It even uses sex in the definition. They're nonsense. This is the actual definition because sex and gender are the same. It even says it at the end. Sex and gender are the same. Your gender identity is ultimately pointless. You can be masculine and female. You can be feminine and a male. You telling these people that they cannot be and that they must be forced or they must be transgender, you know, whatever the case may be, you're just confusing these people to further their delusion and to further their mental health problems. What you should be doing is letting the people live as their true selves. And it's funny because people on the other side of the aisle would say, well, they do want to live as their true selves, but I'm preventing them. Are you living as your true self if you have to mutilate yourself in pursuit of that? Where was the here it is. Sex reassignment surgery. Is sex reassignment surgery necessary for you to be your true self? I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think you need to mutilate yourself in the pursuit of being something that you'll never be. I think you should accept yourself for how you're born and for who you are. If there's certain things that you like, certain things you want to wear, certain ways you want to look, who cares? Who cares? You know, mutilating yourself in search of happiness or affirmation of something that you are not is not going to make you happy. This is just going to make things worse for you, and it's going to put you down a path by which you will never be able to return. If you get sex change operations, you will not be able to come back from it. And not only that, but you will need hormone replacement therapy lifelong. Follow a lifelong course of masculizing or feminizing hormone replacement therapy. What they're doing is just making you a source of revenue. It's not about your happiness. It's not about your overall quality of life. They do not care. If it was about your overall quality of life, they would tell you that you're beautiful just the way you are and that you should be happy for what you have and what you were given when you were born. But no, they think that cutting you up and taking away your breast or giving you breasts that you never should have had or inverting your genitals or taking off other parts of your body to make a fake genital They think that is the proper way to help these people. How are you helping them when you're cutting them apart? You're cutting these people apart and you're saying that you're helping them? It doesn't make sense to me. So I go back to the Vanderbilt story here, and it says the suspension is due to ongoing review of new guidance of treatment transgender patients issued by the World Professional Association of Transgender Health. The notes review may take several months. I mean, this was in the news for a while. So it says here that the patients were at least 16 years old. They're taking off the breast of 16-year-olds at Vanderbilt. 16-year-olds getting their breast removed. That's amazing to me. And then what do we have here? So I found this. Irish gender affirmation surgeon based in Florida is reported over false promotion in TikToks. Now, they didn't provide a lot of false promotion like evidence, but what I found interesting here is just the doctor themselves, regardless of their gender. They just had a lot of interesting things, like the doctor describes themselves as Dr. Titus Deletus and Yeet the Teats. Like, this just sounds, I don't even know, like, it sounds like it's a big joke to them. I mean, how much money is this person making off these people while they make jokes about it? It's honestly it's honestly disgusting. It really is. And it says, Dr. Gallagher has said she does up to 500 gender affirmation surgeries a year. One a month involves a person under the age of 18. Now, it doesn't say here in the article how old the person is that's under the age of 18. It does, I believe, say that it requires parental consent. But when is parental consent to abuse made abuse okay? That's what I'll say to that. And, this is irreversible. If you remove your breast tissue, it is irreversible. So if you're 16 years old and then you get to 28 or whatever, probably sooner than that, you're like, oh my God, what have I done? I was a dumb 16-year-old. I shouldn't have made that choice. What are we doing to these kids? What are we doing to these kids? And they're making a joke out of it. I sincerely don't understand how this helps anyone. I mean, I can even go into the abortion debate on this, because you're alive when you're in the womb. I don't care what people say, life begins at conception. But obviously, like, the majority of people will agree that it's 100% a life after the first trimester. So after the first trimester, when you are for sure a person, according to the majority of people, you begin to develop sexual characteristics that will go on to develop throughout the rest of your life as well. You cannot change those characteristics once they have been developed in the womb. Perhaps we'll find technology one day where while you're in the womb, we can alter that. But once you develop to a certain point, there's no going back. And you preventing that once, the kid is like going into its teen years and stuff like that, it's just going to make their life hell. They're not going to, what is it? They're not gonna grow properly. Their brain they're not gonna develop properly. That's what it is. They will develop incorrectly. Their brain won't be developed correctly. Their bones won't be developed correctly. Their body in general just won't be developed correctly, because we're introducing things that should not have been there in the first place. Now, obviously, there are some children that need hormone blockers, but they get off them when the time is right. When the time has come for them to enter puberty, they get off hormone blockers. Hormone blockers were never intended to prevent puberty. They were never there to prevent puberty in the first place. I don't know how I forgot that word. It's literally in puberty blockers. So it just amazes me. And then while I was looking around for research today, I found another website offering gender affirmation care to children. This is in Seattle. Now, this is their official website. This is the clinic's gender clinic, Seattle Children's gender clinic, or Seattle Children's Hospital Research Foundation, whatever. So it says Seattle Children's Clinic provides gender-affirming medical care for adolescents whose gender identity is different from their sex at birth. They also will provide it to those who do not identify with the traditional definitions of male or female. So basically anyone who is just a little unsure of themselves. And it says here that they accept new patients ages from 9 to 16. Patients ages 17 and older and patients who have not yet started puberty will be directed to community resources. And then let's see. So what does it say here? It says they'll give them mental support. They'll give them puberty blockers, gender-affirming hormones. They also say initiating gender-affirming care is available. But if you go down here, it says, let's see. Services we provide: puberty blockers, gender-affirming hormones, gender-affirming surgery. We perform gender-affirming surgery through the Division of Craniofacial and Plastic Surgery at Seattle Children's and Northwest Hospital. We take referrals for established patients in Seattle Children's Gender Clinic, as well as patients getting gender-affirming care from providers outside of Seattle Children's. They are turning kids transgender. They well, not turning them transgender, but they're mutilating their bodies because they say that they're transgender. But I pulled it up here. You can read it for yourself. Where is it? This right here. Sex reassignment surgery. It talks about it here. It talks about the feminization surgeries, the masculinization surgeries. It's really funny to me that you need these surgeries to look like the opposite gender. If there wasn't obviously a difference between the two genders, why would you need the surgery to look like the opposite gender? Simple answer. It's because there's a clear difference. There's a clear difference between the two genders. And if you feel like you're the opposite gender, I'm not sure what to tell you other than ask you why that is. Why do you feel that way? And when I have asked people that question, why they feel a certain way, especially in terms of being transgender, when I ask them that, they usually just say it's because they feel more feminine, or they feel more masculine, or they feel one way or the other. And it's really, I think the right word for it is arbitrary. Like it's pointless. Like, it doesn't mean anything. I can be a male and want to play with dolls. I could be a male and want to wear skirts and dresses. I could, I have long hair. Like, what is the criteria for a man to become a woman? Ultimately, it's based off how they feel. And I just don't agree that that is a valid source of evidence to support that they can in fact change their gender. Probably because it isn't a valid source. It is not a valid source. So they're giving gender affirmation surgery, hormones, and puberty blockers to children in Seattle. Who knows what the ramifications of this will be in the future? I can only imagine. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the amount of children that grow out of this. So if children are not given hormone blockers or any of the gender affirming crap, how many of them grow out of it? Well, there hasn't been enough studies about this, or especially good studies, but the ones that I did find got compiled here into one bigger study. And it concluded that about roughly 60 to 90% of trans kids turn out no longer to be trans by adulthood. So that's over half. Over half of the children will not be trans by adulthood. And that's not counting the people that will further not be trans afterwards, as long as you don't affirm their delusion. I mean, are we affirming the delusion of people that are anorexic, or, they look in the mirror and they think they're overweight? We're going to be like, oh yeah, you're a fat sack of crap, you should stop eating. No, we're going to tell them how it is. Be like, dude, you need to eat. You need to eat. And what are we supposed to do? Be like, oh yeah, you can get pregnant. Yeah, you have a penis, but you can get pregnant. No, I refuse, because it's impossible. It is physically impossible for that to happen, no matter how much you alter your body. And what's funny is, 99% of these transgender people that have gone through the full reassignment, I can still tell that you're transgender. You do not look like the opposite gender. You look like you're wearing a costume. And I'm not trying to be a dick about it. I'm just getting really sick of this debate. It's just circular. They use circular definitions to get what they want, and it's amazing. You know, here I have it. This is the goal. They want to they want to give children these transgender surgeries. That's a better way of putting it. They want to give these children transgender surgeries, and then they call you a liar when you point it out. So I was mainly making this video today because if you don't follow me already, you should go follow me on Twitter at TylerTodayYT, because I'm constantly arguing with people on here, and often the gender debate gets brought up, and they always, it's just vile rhetoric. I'm sitting here trying to have a conversation about, you know, what is a woman, or what is sex, what is gender, and these people decide to devolve into direct insults about me. And it's amazing. It's every time without fail that they do this, and I have not been given a valid argument as to how sex and gender are different. You cannot define gender without also saying some form of sex or masculine or feminine, which masculinity and femininity is definitely on a spectrum, unlike gender. But you being feminine or being masculine does not mean you are the opposite gender. And your gender identity is based on your personality and how feminine or masculine you are, not your sex, not your gender. You know, gender and sex are the same thing. Your gender identity is just another way of you talking about your personality, and another way of talking about you know, things you like or your interest. You know, it's honestly ridiculous. It really is. No valid argument has ever been given to me for this. Now, like I said, adults can do whatever they want. I'll still treat any adult with respect, so long as they give me the common respect. That's just how it is. You know, I'm not gonna purposefully call someone the wrong pronouns to their face, because I don't wish to, you know, start conflict. But to some extent, you know, I probably wouldn't refer to a woman as a male or a male as a woman. I would probably just refer to them as whatever name they wanted to be called, but I would generally try to avoid conflict, because I'm not going to convince that person, you know, otherwise of their delusion in their head. You know, that's something for their therapist to work out with them, or whoever they go to for, you know, mental guidance. That is not my place, but I can still have an opinion about it on the internet, which is why I, you know, talk about it on Twitter, and I talk about it on here and stuff like that. But, you know, I think I'm gonna leave the video here. There's probably more I could talk about. If you like my videos, please subscribe and like the videos, share the videos too. You know, I'm trying to get the word out there of my channel and stuff like that. We're at 28 subscribers, and I think it told me that I have over 500 views, so I thought that was pretty cool. That's pretty encouraging. And yeah, other than that, just share my name, get my name out there. I don't have any source of revenue from these videos. I'm just having fun making them. I know I haven't stuck to my schedule that I have mentioned before. I mean, I'm currently making one video a month. Maybe that'll change, but it's, you know, hard to find time to do that. Life gets busy. But I really do like making these videos, and if someday I blow up, maybe I'll make it full time. But as of today, I can only do so much. And I'll point out things that I'm passionate about when I see them, and I'm pretty passionate about this. I think it's horrible what we're doing to children. We're mutilating children. I mean, we're mutilating adults as well, but at least they're able to consent to that. Children are not able to consent to this. They're not able to consent. So if they're not able to consent, they're not able to get drafted, they're not able to drink, most of them aren't able to drive. What makes you think they're able to make a lifelong decision in surgery that affects their body forever? The answer is they can't. They can't make that decision. The parents make that decision, and these parents are making the wrong decision. I'm gonna leave it there. Subscribe to the channel, and hit that like button. Share the video. Have a good day. Thank you.